everyone. Welcome to Fired Up California, where we cut through the noise and tell you what actually happened in California's primary shockwave. Xavier Becerra, he and Steve Hilton look to be heading to November after Tom Steyer burned 200 million and ended up on the outside looking in. Let me repeat that. $200 million. Then there's Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, who survived, but she's getting dragged into a runoff with the reality TV insurgent and social media superstar Spencer Pratt. I say superstar because the last 6 weeks, he's been everywhere on social media. He's what you call viral. Well, anyway, he's proving that even a supposedly safe race can get turned upside down. Then we have the ballot mess. You're already hearing rumblings, slow counts, weird rules, and universal mail-in voting. They're no longer nerdy side stories or stories from people like me who have tracked it for years anymore. Now they're front page issues, which is not good news for Democrats or Senator John Thune, who refuses to push the SAVE Act to get passed, which would help secure election integrity. People are talking about the process with the same anger they talk about crime and housing. But here's the truth with California. California didn't fix itself last night. It just showed you exactly where the cracks are. And with that, let's get into it. Let me introduce you to Bob Hoge, associate editor at Red State and husband of the beautiful Los Angeles Republican Party chair, Roxanne Hoge. Let me find Bob here. Let's bring him on in.
Up California.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Red State is a site I had gone to for years. I thought it was owned by the Georgia guy. I can't remember. Eric Erickson.
I think before I got there, it is now a Salem Media Group, part of Salem Media Group, which is a big company that has radio stations and multiple sites like Town Hall, Hot Air, and the great one, Red State. And if you're not going there, you should.
Well, Hot Air goes all the way back to Michelle Malkin, the original Trump Meister.
Yeah.
And I believe she's back. That's a little wild woman. She was the Laura Loomer of her time in terms of the facts. She always had those facts. I remember because she started Hot Air, I believe, and Salem purchased it. But I could be wrong. Maybe it was Twitchy.
Yeah,
I know
Twitchy's another one of Salem's. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so Bob, before we get into the California politics, I always do this. I throw it out at the top of the show, a topic that's not directly related. Democrat senators are cozying back up to Graham Plattner, everyone's favorite Nazi socialist feminist porta potty lover. He's the same guy that they claim to be horrified by when it's convenient. They call every Republican all these names, and they're now welcoming an actual anti-Semite, a Nazi supporter. Some of his issues, obviously anti-Semitism. He has a chest tattoo that is knockoff of a Nazi Totenkopf emblem, which is some kind of, it's Nazi. He removed it after the backlash, but he's had it for 18 years. And now he's seen the light conveniently. He's been hit for Reddit posts with anti-Semitic, racist, and vile comments about sexual assault. He IDs as a communist. And then, this is the dirty stuff, he bragged online about masturbating in portable toilets. I don't know how much grosser you can get. He's made crude sexual remarks in military restroom threads, and he's now dealing with a sexting scandal over sexually explicit messages to women other than his wife. Now, the core issue here is hypocrisy. They accuse the GOP of politics that they're now accepting them for themselves on their side. So what are your thoughts on Graham Plattner? Do you think there's hope there for Graham?
I think it's more than just hardcore politics. I think it's the most shameless acts I've ever seen by the Democrats. There's several of them who have said, yeah, he's a sexual this, and he laughed about a guy. He mocked a guy who was a military guy who was killed in combat. He's got these tattoos. He's got the sexting. And yet you have people coming out, Democrats in the media going, I know all that, but we need to win Maine. I think it was a Sunny Hostin of The View, who's just anything but sunny. And she came out and said, yeah, listed all his things and then said, but I'm going to vote for him. I'd vote for him anyway. And I've never seen anything quite so scummy, that you would say somebody who's against everything you stand for, you don't care because you just want to win in cold power politics. So it's disgusting. I think it's going to catch up with them in between now and yeah. I just don't see this one surviving as a
And
viable candidate.
well, this is when I get angry at the GOP. I'm like, to me, see, this is what the GOP fails to understand. Every everything, well, that's Trump's fault. That's Trump's fault. We're going to
Yeah.
talk about Javier Becerra, but that's why he says that's Trump's fault. They need to do this for Plattner. He supports Graham Plattner, a Nazi, an anti-Semite. He is an anti-Semite himself by supporting an anti-Semite. That and you tag that. So when you see Javier Becerra, you don't see a Democrat. Oh, he supports anti-Semitism. Or we don't ever do that. And I think there's a couple of, then you have the nut job in Texas. So they're all over the place. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of these races would be so easily winnable if we fought like Democrats. But with the truth,
Yeah.
there is a core difference. Cory Booker. I'm like, Cory, brother, you're black and you're supporting this guy who's talked about racist or made racist comments. I'm like, give me a break with it shows to me that they don't really believe any of the garbage they spew.
Yeah.
Graham Plattner. And they're trying to sit there and say Susan Collins is the worst of the worst. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bob, but she's pretty much the most moderate Republican who aligns more with Democrats than we'd like her to. So I just
She infuriates conservatives. They should be happy with her.
exactly.
But Schumer has so far refused to walk away from this guy. I think Elizabeth Warren, other ones, they're all acting like he's this hero when he's one of the most despicable characters you'll ever see in politics. And you were talking about how they always calling Republicans Nazis and Gestapo and this and that. But if we ever had a guy this bad, I'd like to believe the party would have walked away from him a long time ago, but these people just have no shame and are just going to watch this clown show go on.
Oh, we have. We've had he would never have survived in our party. That's
Yeah.
why I'm conservative. That's why I went from liberal to conservative. I realized the values of the Democrat Party were nothing but a charade. They didn't believe in it. They just wanted power. And the reason I switched is I I was in a meeting. I was getting ready to become a Democrat, and he threw out the skin color. Now I am 100% Latino. My grandmother's what you call Afro Caribbean. And so we're a mutt family. So then when he tried to sit there and say it's all the white man's fault, I'm like, well, I'm as close to white as you can get. But my
Yeah.
grandma is, and she's as close to black. I was like, oh my God, I'm a Republican. In that moment, that went through. And it wasn't that I was a Republican, I was a conservative. But that's when I realized y'all don't care about anybody. You're trying to play us off on one another. That was all the way back in 1987 as a
Wow.
freshman class president at UNC Wilmington. But so that's what
Well,
so
we
conservatives
see it
are
here too, that here in California, that they will do anything to win. And it just doesn't matter. Prop 50, for instance, they shred the Constitution, shred
yes.
the Constitution to just basically
Win.
make jigsaw puzzles and try and power play their way into power. Unfortunately,
Exactly.
it does work out here all too often.
It works everywhere, human nature. And
Yeah.
that's a whole other discussion, but could you give something free or you give people that's why I loathed Obama. I knew the hope he was giving was false hope, would never happen. So, and with that, let's get right on into it then. So we have for the governor's race. Let's talk about the governor's race first. Javier Becerra and Steve Hilton emerged as the top two. Tom Steyer was left on the outside, 200 million spent. That's brutal. So I'm still concerned. What are your initial thoughts? I'm going to pull up the ballot results. These are live, but what are your results? Because it's 27.6% for Steve Hilton, 25.5% for Javier Becerra. Tom Steyer's at 19.7. Theoretically, Tom Steyer could still squeak it out because, as we both know, talk to us about Young Kim.
Oh yeah, in 2018, young Kim won her race and went to Washington D.C. for freshman orientation, and she was in. She was the winner, and then 11 days later, oh yeah, 3,000 votes just dropped. How convenient! Come on back, you don't have a job. And it definitely worrisome that something like this could happen this time. The the ridiculous system out here is designed. It's not an accident that it takes weeks and up to a month even for results to come in. They planned this all out, and it's made us a mockery around the United States and even the world because almost every nation can get a vote count, much less a state, done that night, and
Yep.
we can't. So these numbers could change, and they do frequently. And because it's California, it almost always seems to benefit the Democrats. So that
Exactly.
is something to worry about. I think Steve's in a really good spot, Steve Hilton, but yeah, I think Steyer's done. And you know what? He spent 200 million on this one. I read today. He spent over $1 billion in failed campaigns. His presidential
Yes.
campaign. Wow, must be nice.
I think his ego is so big, he will do anything, and he's a little older now, so I think this could be his last hurrah. Your thoughts on Chad Bianco, 11.3%. He's kind of been with most polls at about 11%. He came in, him and Hilton, they really don't care for one another. I would vote for him if he had made it into the top two, and Hilton had not. But I can't get over the take a knee Bianco is how I view him. And
Yeah, that one's tough to forget. Um, but for a moment there, it really looked like we might have the dream scenario, which is Bianco and Hilton in the final, and that means no Democrat as governor. Period. End of sentence. We're done. That did not pan out. His support seemed to drop in the final weeks of the race. I'm not quite sure why. He, I thought, did decently at the debates, and he made a lot of great points. Uh, and then Becerra, where did he come from? He was nowhere a month ago.
well,
So
that's a great segue because Becerra kind of represents the establishment lane, the safe Democrat, Biden, Harris insider. He's got heavy support from the party regulars. He's got the union supports. He's a don't rock the boat type guy. Will manage the decline. Let's take a look. Tom Steyer, he's just way out there, even for the party. And Katie Porter, nobody wants the
nobody wanted
everybody
that.
fears having hot water or mashed potatoes thrown on them. And Matt Mahan or Mahan, he's a guy I think they really wanted, but he gained absolutely no traction. Villaraigosa is just too old now. I think Becerra was by default the only choice option, and he has the most name recognition. Your thoughts on that analysis there?
I call him the machine candidate because that's
Yes.
exactly right. He's got the unions now. But it took them a while to decide powers that be which one it was going to be. Once what's his face Swalwell dropped out. Um, and it seemed to coalesce in the last, I'd say 3 weeks to a month. He was literally at like 6% not that long ago, and now suddenly all these people love him, and so they don't. It's kinda like Joe Biden winning the nomination in 2020. Nobody actually liked him, but they finally realized he's the one who's got the best shot because he's
Exactly.
yeah, boring as sin, and he's just part of this California machine and has been for decades, and he served under Biden, and it's just more of the same.
I gotta be honest, Bob. I've heard him talk, I've heard him speak, I've listened in trying to cure insomnia.
Yeah.
But he and I don't mean this out of disrespect, but he doesn't seem very smart, very into he's a lawyer, I believe, but to me, that's different. It means you can study and eventually pass things, but he just doesn't he seems dim-witted is how he comes across to me, and to me, he's the perfect Biden for
Yep.
governor of California to manage the decline, do what the unions tell you to do, Javier, is and when I first saw his name, that is a Latino way of spelling it, but it's such a rare way to spell Javier with an X versus a J. All right, so do you think Steyer's done then completely?
I think so. That's a pretty big jump he's gotta make to catch up with,
No, no, no. I mean his political career.
he's gonna keep giving hundreds of millions of dollars to leftist causes.
Yes, that's
He's gotten really pretty wacky this cycle. He said if he won, he was gonna arrest ICE agents and prosecute them. He was basically calling for violence. And
yes.
then he just last week, he met with the athlete AB Hernandez, who's winning all the state titles. And he said, "I'm so proud of you." And it's like, what? How proud of what? Proud of cheating? And so he seems to have gone more extreme than I remember him back in
Yes,
2020.
yes. Well, I think his advisors have told him, "You gotta go full-blown leftist here."
Yeah.
That's what they want, and it just didn't quite work out for him. Final question before we move on to the LA mayor's race. Sheriff Chad Bianco, he's out of the running, as I said. As I said earlier, there's some bad blood between him and Hilton.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Bianco, I'm not a Bianco fan. Like I said, had it been him instead of Hilton, I would have easily voted for him before any Democrat. But his first debate, I thought was average, but he came on strong those
Yes.
final two debates. It just wasn't enough. But the real question for you, Bob, is with him out of the running, does he pull a Travis Allen and take his ball and go home? For those of you that don't remember out here in California, there was a brutal race in 2018, I want to say, between Travis Allen, a Trump, not acolyte, but a Trump copycat, I guess, and John Cox, more of
Right.
an outsider. And John Cox won the nomination, and Travis Allen refused to endorse him, never endorsed him, never officially endorsed him. He took his ball and went home. Do you see Chad Bianco possibly pulling that same type of scenario, or do you think we can all unite as a party for this governor's race? Since we're going to need one
I
of both.
Yeah, it did get pretty nasty between the two towards the end, which I did not like to see because like I say, I wanted them both to make the runoff, and then we'd be guaranteed of no Democrat and no Becerra. I didn't think he could ever beat Hilton, but I thought he could have. He would. They were 1 and 2 in the polls for quite some time.
Yes.
But then they started going after each other pretty damn hard, and I think hopefully he'll come around and support Steve Hilton, assuming the numbers are, but I could also see it going the other way. So I couldn't predict that. I saw him a couple times speak and stuff, and I I kind of liked him, and I thought he really was making some great points at the debates and just
Oh,
saying
phenomenal.
other people wouldn't. So I'd like to think that he's going to man up and say, "All right, let's let bygones be bygones." Because I'll tell you one thing: I never would ever think I'd see Donald Trump sitting next to Marco Rubio and palling around after what they went through in 2016. That was some nasty stuff, and so hopefully he can be like a grown up like Rubio and say, "Okay, that's over. We have a country to save and we have a state to save." So we'll see.
Exactly, exactly. Now, one final question, actually. So Becerra's base, obviously Democrats, big cities, union households. So he's got a lot of money coming his way. Hilton's base, obviously, going to be the Republicans, the battered suburbanites, the rural Californians, small business owners. How does Hilton get the fed up independents and instead of keeping them at home, get them out the vote? Because the people who are pissed off are a lot of people who don't actually vote. Put on your campaign hat there, sir. And
Mhm.
how do we get a low primary turnout to become a big turnout on election day in November?
Yeah, because you're absolutely right. Because it's it's going to be tough. There's no let's assume it's Hilton and Becerra. Now all those voters who are voting for Steyer and Porter and Mahan, now they're going to go Becerra, and that pushes his number at a pretty high level that it is going to be tough to match. So the hill is a steep climb. I think one thing both Spencer Pratt and Hilton tapped into is that there really is growing content, not just from us conservatives who've been yelling
Discontent.
in the hills for years now. I'm hearing it from liberals. I have people come up to me at the party and go, can Pratt win?" And I'm like, "I think so." And they're, "Oh, I'm thinking about it." And I've never heard anything like it. I wrote a story the other day. I've never experienced in 3+ decades of living here the electricity that I'm feeling now. Uh,
Right.
over both those guys. I'd actually say Pratt a little more, but it could be because I live in Los Angeles. But I think Steve's done great too. So I think they got to keep it going and just keep reminding us of what has happened here. I think one thing Pratt did really well is say, "Hey, look around you. This is
Right.
what's really happening. Like I said, even liberals are kind of going, "Oh, he's right. This place isn't what it used to be. It isn't what I loved. It's not the home that I envisioned. I've been tuning out all this time." So they got to
Exactly.
keep doing that.
All right. So with that, before we go to Pratt, let's go to Pratt. But for the record, Katie Porter got 4.6%. So once the dirty, whatever the saying is, the dirty laundry came out, she dropped like a rock. She maintained her 5%, and she couldn't advance that. Matt Mahan, 4.1. Katie Porter was 4.6%. Mahan, 4.1%. And Tony Thurman, my fellow Panameño, who I don't like, he's a pure socialist. We'll take my money and give it to somebody else. He got 0.1%. And Eric Swalwell got nearly 19,000 votes, 0.4%. And
Love
with
it.
that, let's head on over to the LA mayor's race, which actually made national news. It's ironic because the two largest cities, I think LA is the second largest, right? The two largest cities in America were both national news with their politics, with
Yeah.
their mayoral politics this cycle. So Bass advances the mayor, current mayor, Karen, I love to go to Ghana while my city burns. Bass advances to November, but she does not crush the field, as we all know, because of Spencer Pratt, who has forced her into a runoff. Now, Spencer Pratt and Nithya Raman, they were fighting for that slot, but the storyline has been Pratt. He's a reality TV insurgent. I never saw the reality TV show. Good looking kid at the time, kind of gained about 50 pounds, it looks like. The reality TV insurgent, fire victim, lost his home. He has really railed on the homelessness with ads, viral clips. So the real issue with Pratt, I believe, is mail-in ballots and the trickling on in. Talk to us. Just give us your thoughts on Pratt, his ads, the fact that before Pratt showed up on the scene 6 weeks ago, it looked like we were going to get another 4 years of Karen Bass.
It sure did look that way. And it's kind of, even if he doesn't win in the end, the big house, he's changed politics here forever, I think, and he's uncovered uh, just really how deeply the disaffection lies. And he got enormously helped by his own really good campaign videos, but the viral ones by creators just blew up.
Oh my God.
Everybody loved them, and a lot of people think he did them. He didn't. Not he did his own, which were great. But these viral ones with Karen Bass as Batman and all this great stuff was watched millions. They were watched millions and millions of times, and they showed the absurdity of the policies that these people are selling us. And it's for an incumbent Democrat mayor not to just wipe away the field is unheard of in a place like Los Angeles.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Okay.
go ahead. Yeah.
No, so you're looking at the numbers here. Bass is 35%. I think she did less than what many expected her to do. Pratt is sitting at 29.9%. They didn't expect him to go over 30% as expected. The ballots that are being mailed in, counting, as you can see there, since the last count, Bass has gone up nearly 11,000. Pratt has gone up only 6,000. Nithya has gone up nearly 9,000. It never fails. Statistically, people, that's an impossibility for every election cycle for this to happen like it's happened.
Yeah.
When you look at the makeup of California being 40% conservative or Republican, at least. So, your thoughts on the fact that Pratt is at 29.9%, 22.8% for Raman. Do you think that's a safe? And I think normally I would always say safe enough, but the last two cycles, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't seem to be safe anymore. Your thoughts?
Is it safe in terms of getting to the top two?
Yes, and keeping one of the top two slots.
I think so. I really do.
That's a shaky. I think so.
Yeah, because I've been fooled in this state too many times before where you're like, yes, yes, this time, and then you're like, no.
What's it say if Pratt loses and drops to third? What's it say about Los Angelinos and, in essence, Californians? Because we've seen this repeated in other counties. About, you think we're at rock bottom, but if they're willing to have bats again, it's we're not at rock bottom. And to separate it, I'm talking about the working class voter, Samuel Jackson, all these celebrities and all that. They live in a nice area,
Yeah.
suburb areas. As an example, when they recalled the district attorney in San Francisco, because now we have the data, we can pull out each district. All the rich white suburban uh, away from crime districts voted for to keep the district attorney in. All the working class and all the poor where the crime was happening voted him out. So have we hit rock bottom? Does this mean we haven't hit rock bottom if Pratt isn't able to secure that second slot?
That's a sad question, but a fair one. In many ways, we're sort of not far from rock bottom. I live in a perfectly adequate neighborhood. It's nice. It's not Beverly Hills, but it's nice. But I can't walk to the mall half a mile away because of the underpass, which is constantly a disgusting, terrifying homeless encampment. They move it one week, it goes to the other underpass, and it comes back. And that's just a little sample of what it's really like. That yeah, Samuel L. Jackson isn't going to see. And
Exactly.
whenever a bunch of celebrities endorse somebody, I know they're a terrible candidate
So
because
I know. So I know we don't have you for much time here, so I want to get a couple more quick questions here.
go for it.
We've got the GOP. Trump has been starting to piss me off. I'm a "Make America Great Again" type guy, but he just pisses me off at times. I don't think he should ever had endorsed Pratt. It's an 80% Democrat town. Just stay out of it.
Yeah.
Is his best chance to keep the GOP organization out or at arm's length? My take is take the money, take the help, but don't come out and campaign as a Republican. And he hasn't done that. He's been smart enough about that. But should he keep them at arm's bay, or do you think it's okay to bring the Republican Party and be open about it?
I am a Trump fan. I'll just say that. I voted for him. I think he's whatever his faults are, he's 1 billion point
Oh, yes, I
seven
agree.
zillion times better than his predecessor. But that being said, I do think that his campaigning or talking about California a lot is completely unhelpful because there is such Trump derangement syndrome out here that even conservatives, some conservatives hate him, but the Democrats hate him so much that if you come out here or give him a big shout out on TV, they'll just get foam at the mouth, and it's just going to work them up even more. And I don't know that it helps that much because anybody who's leaning even slightly conservative is already thinking about Pratt or
Exactly.
really voting for. So I think you're 100% right. Not helpful if he gets involved.
And two final questions is, will you guys see actual improvement with the homelessness or some of these issues between now and November as Bass is desperate to gain votes? Sometimes it takes being an election cycle to actually get things done. Do you think that will happen? And what do you think Pratt has to do to win in November?
I think they'll do some things like they do. They'll clean up SoFi Stadium when people are coming to town for a big event, like they did in San Francisco when Jinping came. Suddenly everything disappeared and it looked like a beautiful town again. Oh, so it's not impossible. It's just when you want to do it. So I'm assuming she'll try and make some things, but really what she's going to do is consolidate her union
Yes.
base and just collect more and more money and rub elbows with celebrities and just get the Hollywood money behind her and do more of the same. I don't think she's suddenly going to magically clean up the city, except maybe in some small efforts that can get on TV. But meaningful change, I doubt it because it goes against her entire what she's done here. What was the second part of the question?
Actually, I'm going to add a little addendum to it. What does Pratt need to do to win? But the addendum is, how does he counter? Well, he's a reality TV star. He's never led anything in his life. Personally, neither has Karen Bass until she
Right.
became mayor. She has, in fact, when she was 20, Pratt may have been on reality TV, but she was in Cuba learning how to bomb buildings.
Exactly.
So what does Pratt have to do to counter that? He's never led anything, but more importantly, to actually win.
I think I said this earlier, I wish I could just give a magic advice to Pratt, but what it would be is basically just keep doing what you're doing. And he's shown one way to counter the "you're just a reality TV star" thing is he's shown repeatedly that he's smart as a whip. I did not know this because I don't really know reality TV. I knew his name, wasn't particularly aware of it. I had a little bias too. I'm like, oh, some reality TV star is going to run. That's great. And I've been really impressed with him. He was terrific at the debate. Um,
Oh, he was impressive.
he was a machine. And so he's got to just keep calling her out, Bass, and showing exactly what her policies have led to, and keep making these killer ads. These ads turned on a lot of people because
Exactly.
he just hit them in the heart. And so I think he's got to keep doing that and get some people on his team who really know what they're doing and keep
I
plugging hard.
I think the money will start flowing in as well. Bob, I didn't give you a chance, but tell us a little bit about what you do at Red State, your latest article, where they can find it to read, and anything else you'd like. The floor
All
is yours.
right. I'm a associate editor, sounds big, and a writer at redstate.com. We're a conservative website owned by Salem Media, along with a bunch of other properties. So go to redstate.com. I was just writing it. Speaking of elections, a very interesting outcome so far in California, which is that a guy we love, Kevin Kiley, he was an assemblyman here and fought hard against Newsom over COVID and all these things. He was a bit of a hero to us conservatives because there's so few people in the legislature fighting against the Democratic machine. He then went to the U.S. House of Representatives and kept bugging Gavin in a good way, in my opinion. So he's one of the targets of the Prop 50 redistricting, and they want him gone. And that was the plan. But guess what? He's leading in his primary. It's kind of a similar situation to what we were talking about with Bianco and Hilton looking like they might be 1 and 2, which in that case would have ensured, since they're both Republicans, would have ensured no Democrat as governor. So right now they're facing that scenario. They have 2 Republicans in this new district that was supposed to nuke Kevin Kiley. So I would just love to see that hold and see Gavin Newsom with some egg in that hair. So that's what I was
Exactly.
writing tonight, and I thought that was pretty cool.
And there's a lot of your work there on the DeSantis Russia collusion hoax. These are not in order, are they? These are for
I was
2023.
going to say I feel like having I have an author page.
Yeah, that's the author page I'm on.
No,
All righty, let's see.
then where it says Bob Hoge.
Hoge. There we go.
Boom, you'll see
Apologies.
it.
Here we go. Bob Hoge.
There's
Look at you.
talk.
You look like who's the Dos Equis guy right there.
Oh, I used to get that. Yeah, till the wife made me shave off the beard.
And there it is right there. Could Gavin Newsom's redistricting scheme face plant? Kevin Kiley might still be headed back to DC. I think before I let you go there, Bob, I think my final comment to you to get your final thoughts is Trump is underwater. They're saying in with his numbers, and I'm not going to argue it. I still think there's a good chance to turn it around based off of with Scott Bessent, what he's talked about. But nobody talks about the Democrats. For as bad as Trump is underwater, the Democrats are worse off. Don't you think?
There's not a lot of excitement for them right now. Yeah, the Congress rating is in the toilet.
Exactly.
My hope for 2028, I'll make this real quick, but I don't see a Barack Obama. I don't see a Bill Clinton. Now, granted, nobody saw them coming well in advance either, but there's just no real leader that could take on JD Vance or Marco Rubio, in my opinion. And
They are
go ahead.
they're in the spot where we were when Bush lost.
Yep.
We got the great war hero, but he was bland, boring, and everybody knew Clinton was going to trash him. They don't have anybody. They talk about AOC. The AOC, once you put her on a debate stage, once you get her in conversation, she's a moron. So, and people are conflating the media and pushing her versus who and what she really is. Any final words before I let you go, Bob? I know you got to get going with the family.
I'd just say I hope she runs and does well in the primaries, because when she got to the general election, she will be shellacked.
Exactly.
That would be fun.
And my friends, that is Bob Hoge, associate editor of redstate.com, the husband to Roxanne Hoge, the Los Angeles Republican chair. And Bob, thank you so much for coming on. I truly appreciate it. And I hope you can do it again sooner than later.
Hey, thanks for having me. A lot of fun and very interesting.
All right, brother. We'll talk soon. You have a good one. Bye-bye. And that is Bob Hoge. Bob Hoge's a fun guy. I've met him a few times, with great personality, good articles. Check him out at redstate.com. Okay, what I want to talk to you guys about is the voter distrust that's happening. Slow counts in California. People have likened California now to a third world election field. So a lot of Californians don't say that the machines are rigged. What they're saying is that the laws are rigged. So we've gone from machine being rigged to, okay, a Democrat go, okay, maybe it's not their season, but something's wrong here. And there's ballot harvesting is another big negative in America's reputation for election integrity. Universal mail-in, long count windows, endless cures, and provisional ballots. I just read a report where an individual went to go vote for LA mayor, but his address was wrong. And they said, well, you're not in that area. He was probably outside the LA area. He goes, no, here's my address. Just right off the cuff, changed his address, got a different ballot, and they allowed him to vote. There's no integrity. There's no integrity. It's just incredible. So critics call California third world elections. Officials blame so many candidates. That's not it. So many ballots. That's not it. As if competence is no longer an expectation, but incompetence is the norm. Even friendly outlets admit the slow, opaque count leads create mistrust, even when the final numbers they say are technically correct. As I've stated before, every single race in California where Republicans have led on election night, unless it's been too big to fail, they tend to lose by a few hundred votes 3 to 4 to 5 weeks later. Young Kim is an example of that. She was declared the winner, went to DC for her freshman orientation, came back, oh no, you lost. So this primary has become another example where voters feel like they're guests in a process managed by people who don't trust them, but demand their trust back. So the more California tells voters trust the process, the more the process looks like it was built to keep us voters in the dark. With mail-in ballots still being counted, no ID required, and Democrats blocking any real transparency, the belief that the system is rigged becomes cemented for the long term, and people will stop going to vote. Which brings up the question, why won't the Senate pass the Save America Act, which would require ID for voting and it would clean up a broken system? The Democrats are completely fighting that. They're making every lie sound like voter suppression. Oh, women who are married can't vote now. That's never been a problem in the past. Oh, the elderly can't find the birth certificates. Never been a problem in the past. We know why. They want a system which allows fraud to happen. Wait, there's no fraud. Oh, I have documented since I started this podcast a couple years ago, hundreds of cases where fraud has been caught. The easiest example is in Michigan. For the last cycle, a Chinese national was caught voting. When they asked, well, what about his ballot? Oh, we can't do anything about it. It's in the system. So it's going to count. See how that works? Doesn't matter about counting them after the fact because judges do not want to do recall elections, meaning I am nullifying this election. They don't want to do that. That's why 2020 went nowhere. The judges did not want to deal with it, and not to mention the liberal judges. I want to say in Wisconsin, they were laughing about it, joking, or caught laughing about it. They had already predetermined what they were going to rule. And then many states said, oh, we're not even going to hear it because for whatever legal reasons. But the courts are no help in this. So our enemy right now is not just Democrats who want to corrupt the system. It's also John Thune, the Republican Senate majority leader, who refuses to get this passed. So what do we do about it? We've got to keep pressuring. Look, Congress is being cleaned up right now. They are being cleaned up. John Cornyn, gone. Marjorie Taylor Greene, gone. Thomas Massey, gone. There's somebody else who's pretty big. I can't remember off the top of my head. Gone. You're going to have a new House, a new Senate. Oh, that's what it is. Mitch McConnell retiring. We've got a conservative who's likely to take that seat now. So the Senate is being remade, and the House is quietly going through its own tweaks. What I've told people is sometimes you got to suffer the loss. Well, now we've got to spend over $100 million there to get Paxton elected. The Republican Senate committee is not going to spend a dime. They've already spent over $120 million to try to keep Cornyn in power. Think about it. In a primary, $120 million went to keep a senator who'd been there for over 20 years to keep him in office. He got shellacked primary night. They were lying to themselves. Texas were done with Cornine. They should have gone to him, John. It's time to retire and maybe find a different candidate to challenge Paxton. Me, I'm a Paxton fan. Obama had allegedly an affair with a man in a limo. Kennedy's, we all know about their dirty secrets. Clinton, you can scream at Trump all you want. If y'all don't care about your own, I'm not going to care about ours. I want somebody who's going to rule for the values that make America great for all races, all cultures, all religions. To the religion of Islam. You want to come here, you have to respect the Constitution, period. End of story. Because we have American values here. And that's what conservatism represents. And that's why you're seeing these primaries lean more Republican. And that's why you're seeing questions happening now about the recounts, because people are waking up. Even Democrats want change, but they realize, whoa. I want change. You're telling me we're going to get another 4 years of Karen Bass? What's up with that recount? So we need to fix this broken system. Will it be fixed in time for this upcoming election? I don't know. The Save America Act would help fix it. The redistricting issues, I'm going to talk about that in another podcast, my Fired Up podcast, which deals with national issues, the redistricting, how many seats are expected to flip, et cetera, because that will help us out a bit. So stay tuned for that. For the governor's race, Becerra versus Hilton is the clearest picture of a state torn between managing decline and betting on a risky turnaround artist. In LA, Bass survives but looks beat up, and deservedly so. Pratt proves a reality TV insurgent can become the central figure in a supposedly safe Democratic stronghold. For the record, Karen Bass never held a position of leadership. She was a congresswoman, bought and paid for and owned by her donors and the unions. She never led anything until she became mayor of LA. Look, she destroyed it. Let the Palisades burn down. Let the homeless encampments grow, despite what she says. Let the infrastructure continue to decay. Then, obviously, what I just talked about, the corrupt ballot counting system. Slow counts, weird rules. They're now front page issues, not nerdy side stories. People talk about the process with the same anger again that they talk about crime and housing. California didn't fix itself with this primary. It did show us exactly where the cracks are. Now, these Republican candidates have to take that ball and have to run with it and have to campaign like they have never campaigned before. They have to learn from Spencer Pratt. They have to learn from Carl DeMaio, a local politician who's big, who's growing here in California. They got to learn from the Obama machine, from Trump, how to campaign. You go at your opponent. You don't play this gentleman's game. All that does is create a loser. And with that, my friends, I hope you enjoyed the show. It was great having Bob on. It was great to talk politics. We hope we've given you some insight that you can use when you're talking or debating to some of your friends who happen to be Democrat, or your friends who have given up on voting, to get them back out there. This show is on every week. It's posted on YouTube and Rumble. On YouTube, you can find us under Grumblings Media Politics. Grumblings Media Politics. Make sure you follow us and you like and you share this podcast. You can also find us on Rumble, the conservative platform, under Grumblings Media. I hope you enjoyed the show. Until next week, stay safe and stay fired up. Hey, everybody, this is William Del Pilar, founder of Grumblings Media, and I want to say thank you for watching our content. If you want to support our all-volunteer efforts at Grumblings Media, smash the subscribe button right here. 100% free, and please consume and share our great content. Click either one of these two boxes for more of our work.